and a very warm welcome to my Consistent Content Marketing webinar. I'm going to be talking to you today about sort of how to plan and then how to try and implement that plan consistently. Because I don't know if you're like me, but I love planning and I will write beautiful plans and I will sit there and cover calendars and planners and all kinds of things with all my best intentions. But unfortunately, that doesn't always come to fruition. That doesn't always make me consistent. It doesn't always maintain my visibility. And so working with myself and also with other clients, I have kind of come up with a bit of a way of trying to help you to do that, and certainly to help highlight what you may be doing. I hate to use the word wrong, but you know what I mean, what you may be doing, what may be barriers that you're putting up yourself that stop you from being consistent, from putting out content into the world on a regular basis, and for sort of basically stopping you implementing that plan. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Kate Llewellyn and I run a content consultancy. And as part of that, I run an online membership for small business owners called the Content Club, where I basically help you to remain consistent with your marketing. I help you to evaluate what you're doing. And most importantly to me is I hopefully bring back a bit of enjoyment to your to your content creation, to your marketing, because you're doing what you're really passionate about, and on top of that you're actually seeing the positive effects of doing it, and that's really important to me too. You know, we want to see that our hard work is paying off. We want to see that our marketing is working hard for our business. So what will we cover in this short webinar? So what I'm going to step through is I want you to look at what you're already doing at the moment. I want you to think about what you could commit to doing more regularly and more consistently in the future. I'm going to talk about how we implement how we implement that commitment, how we plan it, and also how we evaluate it. So first of all, have a think about what you do now. This is all we get, this is where we start in the Content Club. It's just having a little think about what you currently do. So assess the last 3 to 6 months, going through all your different content. It's not just about social media. That's another of my passions, content first. What are you actually producing and where is it being published? So it could be all kinds of things. As I've said, yes, social media, but also website, your blog, email marketing that you might be doing, podcasts, which you're either being guests on or perhaps running yourself, video, I've put here like leads output. So if you're actually creating content to be getting in touch with leads, that might be just individual emails, that might be messenger, WhatsApp messages, might even be phone calls and leaving a message. What kind of things have you been doing? And also obviously networking is quite important here too. And although it's not necessarily my specialist area, I obviously have a background in academic publishing. So is there any print marketing that you've been doing as well? We still love the world of paper. So write on what you do. I say, have a little assessment. You can go back a whole year if you've got the time and energy, but start to get a sense of your numbers. So how many things are you doing on a regular basis? Once you've got that information, I now want you to think about what you're going to commit to doing in 2024. And this is my kind of secret recipe. And you're all going to be like, wow. And then you're going to be like, oh, actually, that's quite basic. But it really works. So I have a thing in the Content Club and that I use with my clients called our minimum content commitment. And genuinely getting this down on paper does make a difference. So the key to consistency is always coming up to a plan that you can actually stick to. Stop pie in the sky. Stop. Next year's going to be different. I'm going to be on Instagram 3 times a day. It's all going to be fine. Go back to your minimum. So when you've looked at what you have been doing, have a look and think, do you know what, even in my busiest periods, even, when I was really maybe struggling, I didn't have the motivation, what was I able to kind of get to do? Why do I call it a minimum content commitment? Because first of all, as I've said, I want you to pick that absolute minimum, the absolute minimum that you feel for you and for your business will still make you visible, hopefully bring in the leads or engagement that you need. And I will say for most businesses, this is actually a lot less, especially with social media. It's a lot less than you probably think. But I don't want any businesses, I don't want anyone going out of business. So have a little think about the consistency that you can commit to, that you have the time, what you enjoy doing, what would make you really happy, I suppose, from a minimum point of view. That's all you have to do. Obviously, think about the content. So think about what you want to create. Think about a bit more about, instead of, oh, I have to post on LinkedIn 3 times a week. What about if you love making videos? What about committing to, at least one video a month or a week or whatever? Think about the content that you like creating. And finally, as I've said, this is a commitment. It's a commitment to yourself. It's a commitment to your business. It's a commitment to your marketing. It's a commitment to your growth. So be realistic. If you're going to commit, make sure it is something that you can do, and be genuine about it. Like, actually write down, as I've said, what you want to do. One thing to say: when you write this down, this is not to say that you can't do more. A lot of people go, oh, well, I said I'd do 3 posts in 1 week, and I've already done that 3, Kate. I've fulfilled my minimum content commitment. That's it. No. This is about ensuring your consistency. This is about ensuring that even when, life just goes completely crazy, especially our personal lives, we all know that business and personal is far too related, that you can still do it, that you could schedule it in advance, that you could quickly pop out enough content to stay on course with your minimum content commitment. So as it's not to then say that if you go to a huge event, or if you have a big birthday coming up, or if you're running your own webinar or workshop or something, that you're not going to create a heck of a lot more, content. A lead magnet is a great example. You're going to, in that moment, you're going to do more. This is about maintaining that consistency and making it sort of viable to keep up with. And how do we do it? Are you ready? This is revolutionary. Yeah, 3 Post-it notes. Just stick it down. I really don't mind. I used to say back of a fag packet, but I believe that's not really the proper thing to say anymore. So maybe the back of a serviette. But as I say, I genuinely have mine, or this isn't actually mine, this is a version, but I have mine when I started genuinely on 3 Post-it notes that are just in front of me on my desk. So I know what I'm doing. Now, I've divided it here by monthly, quarterly, and then kind of done an annually, biannually type thing. If you feel like weekly is more for you, that's absolutely fine too. As you can see here, I've given an example. I'm going to do 12 social media posts. I'm going to pop out a reel. I have written here that I'm going to cross post, so I'm not going to sort of worry. The stories are going to be ad hoc because I want them to be reactive, and I'm going to commit to 1 blog post a month. Quarterly, I'm going to send out an email newsletter, leads. You can see, and annually a new landing page, and make sure my website's got something extra fresh. I'm going to make sure I do those profiles, as in my social media profiles. I'm going to update, put a new banner on. That's the one I'm going to do biannually, winter and summer. And I'm going to do some SEO quick wins. So I'm going to go through and update my keywords on my main website pages. And obviously I'm doing that annually, but on each, on each of the main pages. When I say main, I'm thinking home, about, services, that kind of thing. It's just getting it down on paper. And that's why I say, Post-it note, a note on your computer. If you have one, what are you going to do? So that's your minimum content commitment. But how do we turn that into something we actually use? So the first is that you create yourself a template calendar. And this is my first little plug of my new planner that I've created. And this is in the planner. This is sort of an integral part of it. And again, it is this simple, but it really does work. So you take a sample calendar like this and you plot your commitment onto it. So let me show you an example. So this is a sort of working sample. So I've got in here 8 social media posts, 1 blog, and 1 email newsletter that this person has decided they're going to do on a monthly basis. And also we've just started plotting in our kind of quarterly content commitments, as you can see to the side. Now, we've taken it 1 step further, which can work really well, which is where we've actually assigned some, you might have heard, content pillars or content buckets, or basically what I just call your purpose of your post. So that's where, as we've said here, so this person, they've committed to 8, and on the first Monday of the month is going to be a skills post. So a post around something about what they sell. On a Wednesday, as you can see, on the first week and the last week, no harm in having, repeating of these purposes. They're going to share certain testimonials. And you can see it goes on. There's also there, the new blog, old blog, and email is circled, because what it's just showing you is that basically that on the 3rd Friday of the month, a new blog will be published on the website, but it's also a reminder that a social media post is going to go out about that blog as well. And I've seen many people, many of my content clubbers, they use this template in all sorts of ways. They color code it for their different platforms. Some people have very different strategies for, say, LinkedIn versus Instagram or TikTok even. So you can use a color coding system if you want. But it's just about, again, it's about making that commitment. It's about taking it that next step further. And if you're anything like me, it's about having a deadline. You know, if you know that that new blog needs to come out on that 3rd Friday, you know that those sales posts need to be prepped ready for the 1st Monday and the 4th Thursday. It also obviously really helps with scheduling. So how do you, and I suppose this is the thing to say, how do you implement the plan? So basically you can now, and again, this is a page from my new planner, but you take that template and essentially, and I genuinely do this at the beginning of each month for my clients, if not sort of beginning of the quarter, I just flick through between the actual dates of things and the template. So here I am looking at my template, and I know for this client, I need to be doing a sales post on the 1st Monday. So the 1st Monday in January, I'm not just going to write sales post on that first. I'm going to write something like January sales post or special offer or reminder of, you know, my new annual price for the content club, whatever it might be. So you're going to just add in a little bit more detail. Now, one of the things we do in the content club is we actually choose a goal, a focus, or a topic to cover that month. Now, that's a nice little trick, because what you can think about is when, for example, the next thing is my testimonial on a Wednesday. If my focus was on, and you know, an annual membership of the content club is a good example, well, that testimonial, I don't want it to be about website, you know, copywriting. That's not a service I'm promoting this month. It's going to be from a content clubber, hopefully telling them, you know, the world how brilliant the content club is. So you start to map on your template, your purpose, and then you match it to the actual content that you're going to create. And the final point I want to make here is that this is still planning. You're probably saying, again, that's okay, Kate, you know, that all sounds really lovely, but I'm not going to actually do it. It will be beautifully color coded and it might not still happen. So what do we do next? We evaluate how well you're keeping to your minimum content commitment. And as business owners, let's not beat ourselves up. This isn't about being right or wrong or anything. It genuinely is about the evaluation. It's about taking those 3 steps, about taking, you know, getting your minimum content commitment in on paper, getting that template so that it can be used month on month, and then plotting out your plan. And then, and this is a really big thing, it's just about evaluating what you do. Brilliant. Big tick on that calendar next to the post or next to the blog that you actually wrote. And putting a cross through what you don't do. I know, technologically revolutionary. But genuinely, that's all this is about. You know, we're at the planning stage. So just evaluate what you do and what you don't do. The other thing is I often say to people is plan in pencil. So if you need to, I'm not saying delete things, but if you need to kind of draw, you know, an arrow or move stuff around and say, well, actually, I plan to do it on the Monday, but I actually end up doing it on the Tuesday because actually Mondays are always crazy. That's really good information that you can use going forward to help your consistency. And this is what I'm saying also, no guilt. We're evaluating here. We're working out if our minimum content commitment is working for us. We're working out if the planning system works for us. So there's no guilt. My recommendation is always that you do it for at least 3 months as well. So don't change up your minimum content commitment until 3 months. Keep a note, as we've done at the beginning, of what you are currently doing. So then if you are doing a bit less or even a bit more, you've got something to then compare it with in terms of whether it's working for you. Rate your marketing for enjoyment. I started off with this. I want people to enjoy marketing again. I don't want people to constantly be feeling overwhelmed or under pressure. So make sure that you're rating, when you're rating your success, when you're rating the reach, the engagement, the leads, whatever it might be that you're going to measure, I also want you to rate your enjoyment and how much you're finding it. And then, all right, yes, we can look at the effectiveness too. And then with all that information under your belt, you can reassess your minimum content commitment. Do you know what? Have a think. Could you do even less? Or it's a lovely place to be. And I genuinely, again, have had clients where we've looked at it and gone, let's put more energy into, say, the blog post or creating a video. Let's do fewer social media posts. And for 3 months, we'll just see what happens. And in many, many cases, do you know what? The effectiveness went up because the content was better quality. They were giving more time to the things they actually enjoyed. They were giving more time to things like following up leads, which actually directly affected their sales. So I'd say reassess, see what the planning's working for you, seeing if the scheduling, as I've said, if you've kind of in your template, you've put, you must do this on a Monday or you must do it on a Tuesday. If that's not working for you, get that template, reprint it out, and you can work that better for you. And then my final point, and I hope you appreciate where I'm coming from with this, is do seek out support. You know, we all work often alone. It can be very lonely. You're in that bubble. You've made a plan. You're trying to implement the plan, but you can't tell if it's effective. You can't see the wood from the trees. There's no harm, especially if you've got this to hand and go, look, this is what I've been doing. What do people think? If you can get support with reflection and ideas, then that's wonderful. And if you've got someone in your community or you've got, you know, networking group, etc., that you can talk to about this, then that's fantastic. If you don't, however, come and join the Content Club. And I hope you appreciate that I'm coming from an absolute place of support and understanding of how, you know, running a small business can be really difficult. There is a monthly membership with no minimum commitment. I'll have to say about minimum commitment for £23, or I am running offer at the moment that you can join as an annual member for £239. You know, it really is about support. It is about, we cover all different types of platforms, so you can have a little think about the things that you are doing and whether you're, you know, whether you're creating content in the right space. If you join in as an annual member, I am giving away the free planner. And as part of the membership, just so you know, this was, you know, what today was a little bit about in terms of giving you an insight. We work through what we've just talked about all together on a quarterly basis. So we look at our minimum content commitment, we look at mapping our 3 months worth of content, so our calendars, onto our physical, we take our templates and we put them onto our physical calendars on a quarterly basis. So we do that on the first Monday of the month before the next quarter. I hope that makes sense. So in March, we then plan for Q2, so April, May and June. In June, we plan for July, August and September. And in September, we plan for October, November and December. Plus, we have our annual planning sessions at the end of the year where we evaluate how the year has gone. We look at all the content that we can reuse and repurpose. That's a massive part of it. And we start planning for next year as well as Q1. And this year that is happening on Monday, the 4th of December from 12:30 till 3 p.m. It's online, it's a co-working session, so you're very welcome to stay as long as you wish, or, you know, it's certainly the beginning is very much about the training and reflection and getting support and ideas for your topics for the following year or what you're going to do on a monthly basis. And then it's very much a co-working session where I'm there along with fellow small business owners to give you ideas and tips and to get you going on something, on this sort of type of planning. So obviously, as I say, this is all included as part of the Content Club membership, whether you pay on a monthly basis or as an annual member. I will now take some questions if anybody's got anything they wanted to share. I've just see perfect. So I had a message, but I just want to finish there by saying, you know, thanks ever so much for coming along. I hope that I've shown you that actually I genuinely believe, you know, it can be as simple as this, and it's definitely a great starting point to get you feeling confident about your consistent marketing.